Range script loaded, you can now press escape, select, choose slot, and pick your aircraft. The Sk-60B can carry 2 rocket types, mounted onto its 6-wing weapon stations. M56 a rack of 13.5 cm with a high explosive warhead of 3.7 kg, 2 of these can be mounted on each pylon. M49/56 PVRAK of 14.5 cm with a high explosive anti-tank warhead, for anti-tank use, as these are heavier, only 1 per pylon can be mounted. For this training mission we will practice the use of the high explosive rockets, so that 12 rockets can be fitted, allowing for more practice time. We will use a weapons range located north of Anapa, that uses a script which will allow you to gauge your shooting accuracy. You will have to fire your rockets onto the target circle located on the north side of the range. Perform several passes firing them in pairs. You can make as many passes as you want, while you still have rockets left. Perform the passes on a west to east general direction, so that the mission logic can keep track of them. You can access the attack statistics at any time, by calling up the F10 option of the communications menu. We will now taxi to the runway, contact ATC for taxi clearance. Press / to display the communications menu. Select F1, request taxi to runway. Please note that ATC might take a while to answer if there is other traffic on the taxiways. Just wait and eventually you will be given clearance. Press spacebar once you hear the tower's answer.
Springfield 1-1. Anapa, clear to taxi to runway 22.
Take note of the runway assigned. For this mission the active runway should be runway 22, the diagram shows the taxi route you must follow. Enable the nose wheel steering, by pressing the S key toggle. Increase throttle and release brakes. Taxi straight and upon reaching the taxiway, turn to the right, towards runway 22. You are now on the taxiway and on proper heading. Proceed ahead towards the runway, strive to keep the aircraft centered over the yellow taxi line. Stop the aircraft just short of runway 22. We will now contact ATC for takeoff permission. Press / to display the communications menu. Select F1, request takeoff. Once the tower grants permission, enter the runway, align with its centerline and stop there.
Springfield 1-1. Anapa, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.38. Springfield 1-1. Unable to clear for takeoff. Springfield 1-1. Anapa, you are cleared for takeoff when ready.
Flaps, as desired.
At QFE
For this mission, use half flaps. Let's do a brief check before taking off. Navigation equipment, check. Taxi, landing lights, set to their landing position. Nose wheel, confirm it's centered. Hold wheel brakes. Advance both throttles to 92% RPM. Check the following instruments. N2 RPM, no more than 96%. Interstage turbine temperatures, ITT, less than 755 degrees Celsius. Oil pressure, between 300 and 700 kilopascals. Oil temperature, less than 120 degrees Celsius. Release wheel brakes. After a short roll, increase throttle to maximum. At 40 knots, disable nose wheel steering, steer the aircraft using rudder alone. At 100 knots, pull back on the flight stick to rotate attitude. Lift off. Adjust pitch trim to maintain climb attitude. Once airborne, retract the landing gear. Flaps, retract at 100. Taxi, landing lights, set to their off position. Maintain a heading of 220 degrees to reach our first waypoint, just over the coast of Anapa, ahead of us. On the actual Sk-60B, mounting the gun sight and setting the firing mode of the rockets, is done by the flight crew prior to the flight. On DCS this is simulated by means of a graphical menu, which requires the use of two control bindings as shown on the figure. Trigger on-screen menu is used to activate the menu. Press its key now. The menu should display like in the figure. The square cursor can be moved the same way you move your virtual head on the cockpit. Move it over ground crew and then press the menu enter binding. The ground crew menu should appear. To mount the gun sight, move the square cursor over install gun sight, and then press menu enter. The menu will disappear and the gun sight will be installed over the pilot's instruments panel. The actual aircraft uses a Ferranti F105 multifunction sight, but on DCS this is not fully modeled yet. It just display a fixed reticle to help aim your weapons, but there is no depression adjustment nor gyro stabilization. To adjust the rocket's firing mode, you use the same procedure to control the ground crew. Press trigger on-screen menu to activate the menu. Do it now. Move the cursor over weapon setting, and then press the menu enter binding. The rocket setting submenu appears. The rocket's mode defines how many rockets will be fired each time you press the flight stick's trigger. Single mode fires a single rocket. Pairs mode fires 2 rockets, 1 from each wing. All mode fires a salvo of all rockets. For this mission, select pairs mode, so that you will be able to make up to 6 passes over the practice target. Mounting the gun sight and selecting the rocket's mode are operations that on the real aircraft can be performed only prior to flight, while still on the ground. However, on DCS you can perform these operations even while on the air. This is allowed for gameplay purposes, so that you can configure your aircraft when you have started the mission on the air. The procedure for using the rockets is as follows. 1. Master arm switch, set to on. All armament is controlled by the master arm switch. Also, the gun sight is powered up only when this switch is on. And that's the whole procedure. The rockets are now ready to use. You fire them using the flight stick's trigger, a short press to fire single or pairs, while salvos require you to press and hold to fire all rockets. On a true combat mission you would approach the target at very low altitude, and when closer to it you would perform a pop-up maneuver to climb sharply, locate the target and then attack it on a dive. Also, you would do just a single attack. The alert target would be suicidal. As this is a peacetime training exercise, instead we will approach at an altitude of 3,000 to 5,000 feet, turn towards the target circle, and then dive onto it to fire our rockets, our goal being to get familiar with the sight precision and the rocket's fall trajectory. You will fire the rockets in pairs. It may be possible to perform 2 or 3 passes over the target, to enhance the learning. Up ahead is the Lake Saab Sk land. The northern island of that lake is our waypoint too. Adjust your heading to overfly it. We have reached waypoint 2, turn right to enter the weapon's range on a 90-degree heading. The rocket target circle is at the north side of the range, enclosed on a square. Don't confuse it with the bombing circle, which is pointed by a long arrow. Begin the dive, keeping the targeting reticle centered over the rocket target. Wait until the reticle circle is over the rocket target, then press the trigger on the flight stick to fire a pair of rockets. Pull back on the stick to exit the dive and climb back up. Increase throttle. Start climbing back to at least 3,000 feet, before attempting another pass. Pull back on the stick to exit the dive and climb back up. Increase throttle. The heading towards Anapa Air Base is approximately 140 degrees. Check your range results by pressing / to bring up the communications menu. Select F10, Other, then select F2, Range, finally, click F3, My Bombing Results. Deactivate the armament with this simple procedure. Master arm switch set to off. You have completed the main subject of this training mission. Select. Press backspace if you want to fly back and land at Anapa, or press spacebar to end the training now. Congratulations, you have successfully completed the main subject of this mission. Press spacebar again to exit the training.